Hey there folks, Eric from Belgrade Beat, and today I'm at Mokrin House in the village of Mokrin. And this is a village, there's Ivan, you're gonna see an interview with him in a moment, but this is a village co-working space / co-living space in Mokrin, Vojvodina, Serbia, where you can find a very tranquil atmosphere with lots of very interesting and fascinating people that you can meet. And it's a great place to sit down and focus on your work. I mean, cities are busy, stressful, distracting, and all this stuff, but now that we can work online, now that we can, sort of live our productive lives just with a computer with internet, why not sit with your computer and your internet in a beautiful place like this? Are you ready?
Ready?
All right. Welcome to Belgrade Beat, folks. I'm with Ivan over here at Mokrin House, which is a rural co-working space in a village in Vojvodina of North Serbia. And I've been here since yesterday, and it's a really amazing vibe here because, well, normally when I'm working, I feel I'm rushing from place to place. Let's go to the store, let's go to the cafe. But you have it all here, folks, in one sort of place. So I'm sitting down with Ivan, who invited me here to see the place, and it's just been a really good time so far. Good food, good people. And so tell me about this place and what the idea is and what you're offering to the world outside of Serbia.
So the idea is that this is a rural place in Europe that offers a modern way of living, and the idea is that individuals who are remote workers from all over the world can come here and really focus on their work, on their projects, and that also people can come with their also small teams to positively isolate themselves. And we provide that pretty much, as you said, a little bit of everything. We provide the food, the accommodation, the other events that are happening around. So pretty much it's a one-stop shop for people who want to really focus on their work, develop their either projects or develop their team dynamics. So people from all around the world actually come here.
Wow. And okay, so what would you say the benefit is of working in a environment like this as opposed to an office in the city? What do you think, why would somebody, because lots of people, I mean, obviously business centers are always urban environments, whereas this is a rural environment. And what do you think the benefit is? I mean, because I've noticed that I'm a lot more relaxed when working here. So
this is one of the things. I used to be a freelancer pretty much myself, and I used to work at a co-working spaces. What happens here in a rural area, in rural co-working, co-living spaces, you don't have to commute. Everything is taken care of. There is no miscellaneous stuff that you're losing your time on, and really you have time you can set up. And there's also another aspect, mental aspect. When you're outside of the city, you're not constantly thinking about, where I'm going to go see that friend, or what I'm going to go to see that play, or what I'm going to do that and that. No, it's when you're here, and you're mentally here, which is more, you're present. And that allows you to really focus on your work, but then also when you're done with work and when there's a lot of people around, you can also meet new people, really relax, like decompress. So people say that they're much more productive here, and then they do literally what they do in 3 days takes them a week to do back home. That's one thing, but they say they get fully rested because they just don't lose time.
Yeah, and there's no distraction.
There's no distraction. Yeah.
Everything you need is here. This is what I'm feeling. Like everything I need is here, and there's no wanting to go and do something else. It's just here. This is the destination.
I remember there was a group of you guys know the guys from remote here, and they travel pretty much. There's a group of travelers who travel all year round, right?
Yeah.
So when they came here for a few days, they were like, after 6 months, this is the first time that I have not experienced FOMO, which means and it's literally because when you're traveling all the time,
you're missing out. There's always something in the city you're going to.
Here, when you're here, everything is so far away. The closest city is let's say Timisoara, which is 80 kilometers. You're not thinking about what's happening there because you're so far removed from that. So there's that buffer zone that kind of allows you to really focus on what's happening here, and that's what makes you really present.
Okay, so apart from fast Wi-Fi, great food, and lots of beautiful spaces where you can sit down and get work done, what's happening here?
So the idea is that we're trying to be the bridge, the connector between the local community and the people who come and visit. So what you will see here, you'll see a lot of events that are open for the local community or even directed towards the local community. so what we do a lot of like movie nights every Wednesday in the summer. There's a movie night here out in the open. You know, we have as you can maybe take a video after a beautiful field that we put like a large projector in front of, and people from the village come. We do plays, we do workshops for the kids, we do workshops for the elderly. We do a lot of this. Last year we came close to 200 events that we organized for the local community.
Wow. Okay.
So among those are,
That's
for example,
almost every day, like every second day.
Because sometimes we have like 3 in a day. Like for example, we did on Sunday we had a picnic when there was the workshop for the kids. There was a workshop for there was an event for we raised money for pets and like basically for like providing shelters for animals, and then there was the picnic itself. But when you think about it, we also do one of the things that we're really proud of. Like, do we host one of the TEDx's here? The TEDx Mokrin hosts every September.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we just got our license renewed. I mean, because I'm personally doing that because it's not allowed to be a company that's doing it. I'm personally organizing it. And it's happening this September as well. So there's a TEDx Mokrin for 3 years in a row.
Which date in September is that?
It's now the 14th of September. That's Saturday. It's probably going to be that. Maybe like a week after, or a week earlier. But that's the range.
Cool.
So now we're planning on like.
So, you know, living in Serbia myself for the last almost whatever amount of years, this seems like this is an oasis in Serbia. This is something that looks really sort of rich and affluent and just completely out of context with the rest of the country. And there's a positive attitude of people here that it's hard to find. The country's struggling a little bit. People have trouble making ends meet, and then you see this and it's like world class sort of standards and people with but there's a juxtaposition there. There's like a contrast. How do you deal with that contrast and sort of the difference between all these foreigners coming here who are making enough money off of online to travel the world and stuff, with the locals who don't really have as much opportunity? How do you bridge that gap?
The thing is, you just have to be authentic. We really care about the local community. We're involved in the local community. We do live here, and we are part of this community, which means that we're completely open about everything. So they get the chance. I think first of all it was a little bit it was a challenge getting them to come here
the first time.
And they didn't know what it's going to be, whether there's going to be a house for. Do you want just to tell them to like?
No, just let them pass this microphone. If we just bring it a little closer to us, we can.
Just want to make sure that cool. There's a long.
You guys can't see. There's a lawnmower passing by. You can probably hear it a bit, but I think they can hear us fine. Cool. So go on.
So how we basically what we said, hey, this is what it is. This is what we do. And the thing is, it took time. When the first movie night was organized, pretty much we had to movies. There's not a cinema in like 50-kilometer radius.
Whoa, really that much? Not in
Kikinda is the first one, so it's 50 kilometers away.
All right.
So we're like, you know what? Hey, there's a movie happening here. Why don't you come? And they're like, well, no. We literally had to go like, come, like pull them by the come. And it was like, first it was 5 people, 3 people, 10 people. And now like when it's a good movie and when there's this beautiful summer night, there's 100 people on the lawn. Like it took gradually and then because we did all these different events, somebody likes art, so from the village. And then we got them involved because we brought in artists. And then somebody likes sports. So when we got something sporty, that's how it took us a little bit of time, but it was now it's working. Like the people are feel that this is a part of their community, and people come.
So it's like a part of the community that gives them sort of a gateway to the world.
This is basically what is like a new cultural, educational, motivational center for the local. Obviously, there's other things that are happening around, but this is something that is an integral part of the community. For example, Easter is a big thing here. There was Easter festivities. One of the festivities were taken here, and like people completely accepted it.
So you bridge the gap by making people feel welcome, even though this is a completely different sort of aesthetically, financially sort of different realm.
The thing is, we really subsidize the locals. So for example, when we have a photo camp that we organize, or a writers camp, or something that whatever there's a price for everybody, if you're from the local county, it's really much more affordable to you. For example, CoWorking is free for everybody from Kikinda County. So if you're from Kikinda and you want to come and study here and work here, it's completely free for you. Whereas if you come from Belgrade, it's gonna be like 1,000 dinars, something like a price that we have set up. Because nobody comes just for the day's work. Normally people come to stay, and then the workspace is included in the accommodation price.
Yeah.
But so if you're like a local student, for example, is on for 1 week, 2 weeks back in Mokrin, you can come here and work and study for here.
Okay, so for those people who are watching abroad about the co-working, and maybe they want to go to Europe and they want a place where they can go in Europe for co-working, why Serbia and why Mokrin House? First of all, why Serbia?
Okay, why Serbia? Serbia is actually, I think, completely misrepresented in the world media.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a little bit of a negative stigma connected to the country because
it's the
of
black sheep country of Europe.
Yeah, and it's because of our recent past, and I get that, but I think we've evolved from that and changed, and I think it's a modern country that's following all the trends, and there's some really cool young people who are part of this world, global citizens who live here. So I think it's not represented well. That's one thing. Why? And it's a really good aspect. I think the quality versus price ratio.
Yeah, and also so the price is one thing, but you mentioned the young people, global citizens thing. That's really what jumps out to a lot of people who travel to Serbia the first time. The fact that all of a sudden you're in a place where it's vibrant, interesting, a different culture, but people are able to make you a part of life there in English, make you a part of Serbian life in English. Like lots of young people here are completely fluent with even American style accents and it's something when people think of Eastern Europe, they think of language barrier, run down places, sort of this standoffishness of people not being that friendly. But Serbia is the exact, like, maybe there's a bit of that, all of that, but in the like people everyone. That you're going to end up socializing with, it's not an issue. It's a fact, like,
for example, my sister, she's 12, right?
Yeah.
And she speaks English with a Californian accent because she has been following YouTube. She grew up on YouTube.
Exactly.
So people here are very fluent in English.
Exactly.
Even in the countryside.
So it's like more so than Hungary or Poland or any of those most of those other, Central European countries that you would.
That's also, for example, like in Hungary and many other Eastern European countries, they dub everything.
Yeah.
So you have
Here's
voiceovers.
Subtitles, yeah.
We have subtitles, so that's why people learn the language quicker.
That's actually a big part of how I learned Serbian as well, is reading, especially the grammar, reading subtitles on American TV. Yeah. So why Mokrin House? Why rural co-working? Why? You already explained a lot of it, but what's your unique sort of thing that you're pushing
in
the
world?
It's
that ability to come here and just like jump into deep work. Like this is like an ideal place for positive isolation and deep work. You have that project you want to start and you didn't have the time or couldn't organize yourself to work on it. I think this is an ideal spot for that. Because we take care of everything around you, you can really focus, concentrate for a long time to really develop your own, whatever your passion is, project, business, whatever it is. That I think the people that come here are, because it takes a little bit of, let's say, courage to come to Serbia and a little bit more courage to come to Serbian countryside, right?
Yeah.
So the people that come here, there's already like a filter of people that are like quite extraordinary. So you'll meet people from all around the world that have like a similar mindset to you, I guess, but then like are completely different. So that's one of the things. Like that's why Mokrin House. Being able to experience Serbian countryside, really good local food. We have a farm about 400 meters from here that we and then I'm going to take you later to show you exactly how it looks like. So in the season when there's like a lot of vegetables booming, about 80% of our food comes from our local farm that we treat organically. There's our own hens that lay eggs. We have our own chicks. We have everything and you'll see it anyways. So the food is a good aspect. You know what you're eating, and it's just you're out of the city. It's a different vibe. And
so you've chosen to sort of be on the luxury end of the market. Because there is an added wow factor here in the service and everything like that in the surroundings. Why the luxury angle?
I don't think it's really luxury, because we have 3 levels of accommodation, and this is one of the things. Like we have hostel style rooms, we have standard style rooms, and luxury rooms. So it can be both. And I think it's actually quite affordable when you think about it. That under 1,000 euros, just slightly under 1,000 euros, you can stay here for a month.
Yeah.
You get food, accommodation, and the workspace, and you're pretty much access to all the events. You have waiter staff, you have cooking staff, you have cleaning staff. I think that's a pretty good price.
Yeah, it's not bad
for a whole month.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the income level. Yeah. For example, you can go to Chiang Mai, Thailand, and stay for cheaper, probably, but
for sure. But
for this level,
do you get that service for that? That's the question. So.
And do you get this sort of complete package of environment? Probably not. Yeah. Okay, so how did it all start?
So it started as a family. This is a family project that we're developing, and it started basically like this part of the wow.
Bless you.
Bless you. Somebody sneezing out. So this whole thing started as an idea that we wanted to create a space where people, because as you know, all the villages are dying.
Yeah.
And we were like, how can we put that? You good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. How can we stop that process? So, and then we were like, we had this house. We were like, hey, how would a modern house in the countryside look right now? We actually gave the whole project, everything you see, was designed by 4 people who were just finishing university at that time. So they were not even architects at that time yet. They graduated with, one girl that graduated with this house, the other one with that house. They used this as basically their project. And this is actually the most, architecturally the most awarded parcel in the whole country. They have like, I don't know, because they were really trying hard, they got like 20 something awards, both national and international, about architecture, design, and interior and exterior as well. So and so we developed the space. We were like, everything is multifunctional. We were always thinking like, how will this, because we always knew we wanted to bring in young people. So the reason why we hired young people is, if we want to have young people here, then we should have young people make space for young people. That was the whole idea. And once we were finished, like, we were like, how do we get this going, right? And I was a freelancer, I told you myself. First I worked for a company, then I was a freelancer. And whenever I was like late on my deadlines, I would come here and just like finish straight. And I was like, maybe I'm not the only lunatic who would like to come from time to time, really focus on their work and come here. So that's when we started talking about it, and I talked with the whole family about so we started in January 2016. We were like, yeah, we're going to be doing this. In May we launched. So actually we're just experiencing our 3-year anniversary in about 2 weeks. And in those 3 years, I think we managed to do a lot, because we had more than 1,000 individuals from more than 50 countries in the world, more than 4,500 people from different groups, whether they're small marketing teams, small teams that came here and stayed for anywhere from like a 1 day, 2 day, and we had a person who stayed for 6 months, like just straight up here.
6 months.
6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what kind of work were they doing?
Drop shipping.
Drop shipping.
It was a girl from Mongolia.
A girl from Mongolia doing drop shipping. That's
from Mokrin.
Can you imagine? Yeah, can you imagine that? Yeah, because I was sitting here yesterday, and it's of course the normal Americans, British people, so on and so forth, Australians and stuff. But it's also, people from Asia, because what I really like about Serbia these days is it's open to the world. People from India and China, aka quarter of the world's population, can come here without a visa. And more there's
until recently it was Iran as well.
Yeah, but they were
had to change because of EU.
Yeah, too many refugees, people not going back. But I mean the tourism, and I really like, that openness of Serbia now to be like an alternative European country, not the mainstream EU policies, but this is like, people are welcome to come here and do business. And I think if you do want to come and do business in Serbia, this is a pretty good jumping off point as a environment.
I think it is, because it can really. It's like a nest. You just land here and everything's taken care of. And if you want to do something else, and I mean, we honestly encourage other people to go from here. Like we tell them, hey, go for a few days to Belgrade, go for a few days in Timisoara. The reason why this location is quite good is there are 3 airports that are close by: Timisoara, which is in Romania, Belgrade, Serbia, and Budapest in Hungary. The good thing about it is that we organize transfers to all these locations, but you imagine there's 3 different countries with 3 different like cultures, 3 different languages that are right next door. So even now, 4 kilometers from here is Romania.
Yeah.
And and then 20 kilometers up from that way is Hungary, and then you're in Serbia. So you can have a chance to explore Central Europe really from like. So what we do.
Yeah, with airlines like Wizz Air and Ryanair, it's possible to fly to anywhere in Europe for not much money.
Yeah, exactly. Here. Like literally, in January, every January I sit down and I buy like 10 tickets for 10 euros for like later in the year. I spend 100 euros and then I go to 3 flights, but like 3 flights for 100 euros, like who gets
There's
that,
this
right?
really good site, azrair.eu. And it'll combine like, have you seen this?
No.
So it will take like a Ryanair flight from Timisoara, and say you want to go to Poland.
Yeah.
There's no direct flights from Serbia to Poland, so it'll take a Wizz Air from Belgrade to Eindhoven, and then a Ryanair from Eindhoven to Katowice, Poland, and combine them.
And Skyscanner doesn't do that?
No, they don't do the discount flights. But I'll show you that later. But
cool.
I mean, this is so you can be in this place, and then immediately you can, fly to Amsterdam for 2 days and
hop off and we
come back,
party it up and come back.
Yeah.
Because we're not a party place, obviously. We're in the countryside. We're like a work.
I just see lots of bottles on the bar there, though.
We do drink a lot down.
Sometimes
like in Serbia,
they
man.
put-
It's countryside of Serbia. We do drink a lot.
So yeah.
But the thing is, you come here, you can relax, chill out. We do drink, like, and then, for example, every night when it's like nicer weather. Last night it wasn't, so we didn't do it. But like when it's like this, what we do is, we have this big pan, like it's a huge pit for the fire. Chill next to the fire, have a little bit of wine, blah blah. Decompress from the day, go to sleep. We're a good place for relaxing, like from work, and then really focusing on work. Those two things. You want to go party it up? Go on a bus, get a car, or get a transfer to Belgrade. Belgrade is a party city. There's a really good.
Oh yeah.
So and then you can go. Timisoara has an amazing underground scene, like when it comes to music.
And it's even closer.
And it's 80 kilometers away. It's an hour drive. So it's relatively well located. So, and this is what we recommend. Even like people who stay for longer, we tell them, hey, don't stay here all the time. Go for a weekend somewhere. Go to Novi Sad. Go to Belgrade. Go to Budapest. Enjoy it a little bit. Come back and then really, because that's a good balance, we think.
Yeah. Okay, and so what does the future look like for this place? How do you want to see it develop?
Well, we want to make the first actual global village. So what we say, Mokrin is a village that used to be almost it used to be more than double the size that it is now population-wise. So there's a lot of empty houses, and not a lot, but there are empty houses. There's spaces that you can move in, I guess. And what we want to create, if you can envision this, imagine a village where there's like people who are from Serbia, who are from Mokrin traditionally, and then just like 200 foreigners, 300 foreigners that are like kind of like here, but they're also like a part of the community, but they're also
coming and going,
ideas. Yeah, coming, going in and out all the time, because realistically, not a lot of people are going to decide to live in the Serbian countryside. But I think that realistically, full time.
Yeah.
But I think that realistically, this a lot of the people could consider this as their, once a year stop, two times a year stop to come and decompress, focus on work, and then go either to Chiang Mai, go to South America, go to US, go wherever.
Yeah.
But this space can be like something that they could use, and they could focus on work for like a few weeks in a year.
Nice. And
we want to expand. So we want to expand locally. That's what we're working on right now. But also, hopefully in the future, using this concept and expanding it globally. Why wouldn't we have another, I don't know, like a village and then a Mokrin house in a village in Cambodia, or in a village in Croatia, or in a village in Germany, or
Colombia, etc.
Because the villages around the world, like countryside, are dying. They are decreasing in size. So there's a lot of potential there.
So it's a back to the land sort of, but man. keep your digital life, because it doesn't matter where you are now. It's global. I've sat here over the last 12, 16 hours and talked to people from 4 different continents. Yeah. So I mean, you can be in a place like this. It's just the question of, when you get here, are you going to be satisfied if you're used to being in the city? And for me, over the last day, yes, I have been.
I think it's it's a different experience, and some people might not like it, but I think for the majority of people, this change is good. I'm not saying it should be a permanent change, but this kind of change actually brings in because this kind of spaces, it's proven that when you change your work environment, it sparks productivity, it sparks creativity, and this can be a good shift and a change for a lot of people who can work remotely. And as you said, we first expected there's going to be a lot of programmers and designers, but in the end it ended up being, we had lawyers, we had accountants, we had a guy who's a space lawyer. The guy who said I was
what is a space lawyer?
That's what I said, the same thing. But then when he explained, actually, just a quick remark is, he says there's 15,000 satellites in the orbit, and then what happens if two collide? Who pays the damages? Or what happens if one day we're a multiplanetary species and you go with a stake and you go you point the flag into on Mars? So whose Mars? Is yours Mars?
Intellectual property is
Whose
Mars.
is it? Is it yours? Is it the country that sent you? How big is it? Is it one radius, 10 kilometers, 1 kilometer, whole planet?
Yeah.
So it's like a branch of international law.
Interplanetary law.
Yeah, well, that is now expanding.
Intergalactic law.
Yeah. So we met a lot of crazy, interesting people. We had a designer from Airbnb, very interesting people.
Yeah, and that's kind of, wow. it's on the fringes that you meet these sorts of
Yeah.
people, and when you provide a space like this that can really allow them to go beyond their boxes, because everyone has a box.
And look, think about it. If we met yesterday, for example, in Belgrade, we would have like a beer, we would talk about it, and after an hour we'd leave, right? But what happens here, you live here for a day or 10 days or a month, and that kind of, and then there's nowhere, not nowhere to go. There are places to go, but you kind of stay here in the estate. So you really are directed towards each other. That's why we always have the meals together, so those are the opportunities to meet other people, and the time it takes to get to know a person, not intimately but relatively privately, it's shortened here by a few times,
by a lack of distraction. And
and the thing is, because you don't have like when you're here and like you don't have dinner plans or you're not going anywhere, we're gonna spend that time together. We're gonna watch the game together. We're gonna play like a board game together. You're direct. You center your life in those few days around the people that are here. So that's why community management is very important. That you have like a good community manager. And unfortunately, didn't get a chance to meet Tamara because our other Tamara is on vacation. She's our community manager, and like when you have it like that, it's you really get to know the people and you get to know them quicker. And I think people here, like this was my, for example, 3 girls met here last year for the first time. They were here for a week. They were just overlapping their own stays, right? And these 3 girls spent their New Year's Eve together. Only 3 of them in an apartment chilling. Mokrin is the only thing that connected them. Just because they spent, one is from this part of the world, the other from that. They met here and became friends in a week, and they decided to spend the New Year's Eve together. Those things are what are a driver for me personally.
Great. I mean, it's a very human sort of project, to the villages, because there's so much potential. I mean, you can come in Serbia and just be in a beautiful place, and the population is declining, so there's more and more space for creative people who are looking to transform spaces every year. And I think it's a really good thing you're doing for this community and offering for people like me the opportunity to come and feel this, whereas I've lived in big cities. I've always lived in the biggest city in whichever country I've been in, and for me, I don't really consider myself an urban person, but what you've done here has made it very accessible for me to be in rural. I don't consider myself a rural person, and you've made it very easy for me to come and be in this environment.
Because we have the concept that we're calling now Rurban, like rural urban.
Yeah.
So that's the concept we're kind of trying to. We have even a Rurban Day here in the summer, where it's like a small festival. We have like a play and a concert and a lot of things, workshops. But that's like basically when we assigned the people to design this place, we went to the architectural faculty in Belgrade and said, we open up, like ask the students what they want, and everybody wanted to kind of have like, like how it used to be 100 years ago, but refurbished, repolished, everything looks exactly how it was 100 years ago. No, I was like, no, how would the modern life in the countryside look like now? And this is what I think.
This is it.
This is what it is. Fast internet, good facilities, urban life in a rural setting.
And one of the things, we're going to transition now to the next scene. Thank you very much for explaining all this to us. But one of the big reasons I live in Serbia is because the food is so much more natural here than anywhere else I've lived. It's so much more direct from farm to table than anywhere else I've lived. And I know that you've got your own garden in the back here. So thank you very much. Nice to talk to you. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And let's go take a look at the garden.
Cool. Let's go. So here, we have our own hen houses. They are all pretty much all the eggs come from this, actually designed by our keeper Dragan. Here you can see the eggs, the chickens go free range. They can go anywhere. We have wheat planted there for them, so they can go through and eat. And here in the corner, you can follow me. You can go through here and maybe squeeze in. These are little chicks. We can go from the other side as well. These are little chicks. They're about 3 weeks, 4 weeks old, maybe something like that, maybe a little bit older. And then here we just have the mother goose, and then tiny ducklings, tiny geeslings. You'll see them as well. But these are we have our own goose flock. So these big chicks that you see around, they all lay eggs. And then here we're coming. So you can also follow us, so I can show you the farm here, like the vegetable part. windy. So these are like, this is tomatoes. We start here, like we have, these are, I don't know how you say rotkvica in Serbian.
What is it?
Rotkvica. In English.
It's radish.
Radish, there you go.
Radish.
Radish. Ran. So yeah, this is all gonna be tomatoes. Then we make our own small plants. Like this is like we make from seed. They grow like, if you can follow me here. You see all the way there to the end. They're like tiny, growing from seeds, and they get put in here. Then they're planted fully here. So yeah, we have kilaraba, however you say that. We have some parsley. We have some, but all of these tomatoes, they're all like different types. So like in the summer, we have like red cherry tomatoes, yellow cherry tomatoes, black cherry tomatoes. All these like different variety of colors and shapes and forms. And then this is paprika or peppers, but different types. See, like this one is chameleon paprika. This is Bobby tat paprika. This is capture. So all of them are different. So you can imagine like the salads in the summer. They're very versatile shapes and forms of peppers. So this is black cherry tomato, red cherry tomatoes. Yeah. This is cucumbers. Yeah.
Really? That's what cucumber plant looks like.
Yeah, they're also like, they grow as a vine as well. So at one point they're gonna probably drop the line, and then it goes as a vine.
See, I'm from the city and I don't know these things.
Yeah, I know. I'm from the city. I was born in the city as well, and I've just started to learn these things, and it's magical, man. Every Wednesday in the summer we have something called like pick your own lunch. So like you go and pick out your salad, like, and you just literally go to the farm, whoever is on the estate.
Good old cabbage.
Good old cabbage. Yeah. So these are beetroots.
Cauliflower.
Yeah. So cauliflower, beetroots, broccoli.
Beets.
Yeah. Everything. Komorač. Huh. How do you translate komorač? I don't know.
Cool.
And then we can go from here. Come follow me. We can exit here as well. Yeah. So this part is not covered, but still, this pretty much just prolongs the season. So in the winter we have salads here, like lettuce, rocket, and all that. See, these are the onions. Some of them are like still young, so like you have spring onions, but then they outgrow and they become real big size onions. How do you like it?
Great, man. I mean, and how many people can this size of land feed?
Oh man, it can feel a small army, especially like in the season. It can feel like literally feed a small army.
It's like one of the things that I don't really know is how much land feeds how many people.
Okay.
And
That depends also. That depends on what you grow. But for example, I don't know if you had tomato juice this morning.
It's not my thing, but yeah.
This was like presented because, for example, we had so much tomatoes last year that we conserved it and made like, so the pasta that we make with tomatoes is from like our last year's tomatoes that we.
Do you ferment vegetables as well? Like
yeah, and we also
in the winter.
Yeah. You put them in a yeah. So we try to preserve everything. Nothing goes to waste because we rarely sell something when we really like produce too much. But then, for example, all the food leftovers, they go to the geese and the chicken. So it's fully circular, So there's no waste.
Is it organic, your method of farming, or semi-organic? Or?
So like something that we call homemade is like 95% organic. But sometimes when there's like something that is but nothing, it's like just sometimes mild pesticides. But like nothing that it would be, honestly, like it's, I would be you could be safe to eat it even when it's like
just straight out.
Straight out of the ground. But that's rarely and only in the case of disease, but normally the rest of it is organically.
Well, great, thanks for the tour.
No, thanks for coming by.
So that's it. That's the story here from Mokrin House. It's a great place. You can look in the description and find the website and everything, how to get here. and all the information you need. But I'll note one thing about my focus while I've been here. This video was almost completely finished in the time I was here, filmed in the morning, immediately sat down and started editing it. So basically I think it's true what they say about the focus of this place and the deep work that you can get in here. So if you're looking for a place where you can come and get some work done, this is it. And I feel good, relaxed. I slept really good last night here, and hope you enjoyed this. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you want to know more about Belgrade and Serbia, or want to see more of my perspective of it, subscribe to Belgrade Beat. Thanks a lot, guys, and thank you for watching Belgrade Beat. Ciao.